I cheated on my ex-wife to escape a loveless marriage in the Christian cult we were raised in. At the young age of 15, I made a mistake and got baptized into a cult. Little did I know that this decision would lead to a lifetime of limitations and constraints on my personal and professional life. In this cult, divorce was only allowed on the grounds of infidelity, and if a spouse or children were being abused, separation was the only option. Fast forward to when I was 19 years old, I met a charming woman, and we got married a year later. However, things took a turn for the worse immediately after our marriage. She quit her job and I had to work full-time to make ends meet. In addition to my full-time job, I had to work a weekend job in the afternoon. As a result, I had to step down from my position in the cult and was criticized by my parents and congregation members. To add to my stress, my wife dictated what I was allowed to do with our money, and I had to get her permission before making any purchases. I was exhausted and under immense pressure, but I still tried to remember why I fell in love with her. However, I soon realized that I never really fell in love with her. I only fell in love with what she wanted me to believe about her, and I never truly knew who she was. My wife took me to the elders in our church, and during our shepherding call, she accused me of not respecting her headship. I laughed and rolled my eyes, telling them that the true head of the house is the one who brings home the bacon and provides for their family. But the visit only resulted in pointing the finger at me, and nobody asked her why she wasn't working. Despite her receiving money from her parents and turning to drinking, nothing changed. I felt trapped in a loveless marriage and cheated on her just so I could be free to divorce her. I am not proud of my actions, and I have been disfellowshipped and shunned by my family as a result. I acknowledge that cheating is never the right solution to a problem, and I should have found the courage to end the marriage without causing anyone harm. However, I cannot change the past and must face the consequences of my action. I appreciate the directness and candor of all the responses and accept whatever karma comes my way. Redditor's reactions. Story 2 after Redditor 1. Jehovah's Witnesses. Yep, I recognize the key words. As I read your story, it resonated with me deeply because I, too, grew up as a Jehovah's Witness. I was baptized at 15 years old, just like you. I understand the feeling of being suffocated by the religion's strict rules and regulations. It's like they control every aspect of your life, from what you do on a daily basis to what you should think and feel. After getting disfellowshipped, I realized that it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I finally had the freedom to live my life to the fullest and celebrate holidays that were once forbidden. I'm sorry to hear that your dad is still stuck in the religion, but I'm happy to hear that you were able to break free. Regarding the situation with cheating, I don't believe it's wrong if it was the only way for you to escape the toxic environment. Your happiness and well-being should always come first. It takes a lot of courage to make such a difficult decision, and I commend you for taking that step. I want you to know that you're not alone in this. There are many others who have gone through similar experiences and have found a new life after leaving the religion. I wish you all the happiness and success in your journey. If you ever need someone to talk to, I'm here for you. Redditor follow-up. I'm 16 and I left the religion by choice. I haven't been baptized, so I think that's why it was easier for me. I couldn't take it anymore. The suffocating environment and the pressure to conform to the strict rules and beliefs of the religion were too much for me to handle. I felt like I was living a lie, pretending to believe in something that didn't resonate with me. So I made the difficult decision to leave the religion, even though I knew it would come with its own set of challenges. Thankfully, my family was accepting of my decision. I think it helped that I had never been baptized, so I wasn't as deeply involved in the religion as some others were. But still, it was a relief to know that I wouldn't be disowned or shunned by those closest to me. It's hard enough to leave behind everything you've ever known, but to also lose the support and love of your family would be unbearable. I know that not everyone is as lucky as I am in terms of their family's reaction to leaving the religion, but I also know that it's important to be true to yourself and your beliefs, even if it means going against the expectations of those around you. I may be young, but I've learned that sometimes the hardest decisions are the ones that lead to the most growth and happiness. Redditor 2. I don't really understand this not allowed to divorce thing. Certainly the government doesn't recognize this and would allow you divorce the same as anybody else. Redditor 3. I couldn't help but feel frustrated as I listened to my friend talking about her recent struggles with her religion. It was clear that she was feeling the weight of the judgmental comments from people who had no understanding of her beliefs. I couldn't blame her for feeling embarrassed by their ignorant comments. It was hard to believe that people could be so quick to judge without doing any research to actually understand the religion in question. I shared with her my own experiences of leaving a similar religion and the challenges that came with it. I knew all too well the suffocating feeling of being trapped, the fear of losing everything and everyone you knew if you chose to leave. It was a reality that kept many people in the religion, even if they weren't happy or didn't fully believe in it. Despite the difficulties, I encouraged my friend to keep searching for happiness and not give up on herself. I told her about the supportive community of ex-members on Reddit and encouraged her to seek out their help and advice. It was a small comfort, but I hoped it would give her some hope that she wasn't alone in her struggles. As we continued to talk, I could sense a glimmer of hope in my friend's voice. It was reassuring to know that she wasn't alone and that there were people out there who could relate to what she was going through. I hoped that she would find the strength to keep pushing forward and eventually find the happiness she deserved, regardless of what anyone else thought. Redditor follow-up. That's true. It really can be suffocating. I used to be in it a few years ago. Of course, I still have respect for anyone that chooses to stay, but I definitely didn't want to be tied down to such limitation. The people, for the most part, are not inherently bad. It's just not for everyone. Story 2, 3 years later and I'm not over it. I can feel the pain and anger bubbling up inside me as I recount the events of that trip to Europe with my ex-wife. It was supposed to be a romantic vacation, a celebration of our second year of marriage after I had returned from deployment. I had worked hard and saved up enough money to pay for the trip, and we were excited to explore 3 beautiful countries, Ireland, England, and France. But things took a turn for the worse in Ireland. My ex-wife started acting weird and distant, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. As soon as we arrived in England, she left me in our hotel room to go meet her pen pal. Looking back, I'm convinced that he was the guy she had been cheating on me with while I was on deployment. When she returned, she told me she wanted a divorce and suggested that we continue with the trip since it was already paid for. The next day, I was devastated and went back to our hotel room early from sightseeing. When she came back, I was crying and she got angry and started packing all her stuff. We still had 3 more days of the trip left, and France was next on our itinerary. She called her mom, and as soon as I walked toward her to ask what was going on, she started screaming that I was hitting her. She grabbed her bags and left, taking all my money and our flight information with her. I was left stranded and alone in a foreign country. 4 months later, our divorce was finalized and she was remarried to the guy she had been cheating on me with. To make matters worse, she was also pregnant. The pain and anger I felt then was indescribable, and it still lingers with me to this day. It was by far the worst thing that ever happened to me, and I hate her so much for what she did to me. Recently, I stumbled upon a blog that my ex-wife had created on Facebook. Our mutual friends had shared it, and seeing her name again brought all those painful memories flooding back. Part of me wants to reach out to her for the first time in years and demand answers, but another part of me knows that it's insane and will only cause more pain. I wish I could just forget her and move on, but it's easier said than done. The wounds from that trip to Europe still feel fresh, even after all these years. Redditors, reactions, Redditor 1. My first wife stayed married to me for a day short of 10 years. 7 of that was while I was in the military. I don't think there was more than a 6-month period where she didn't cheat on me. I let it ride for way too long. I got paid more. She got benefits, medical, etc. I finally pushed for a divorce when I was able to get myself on better financial footing. I never really forgave her. I never really hated her either. It was just a sort of numbness that left me with a lot of weird ideas about women in general. I've gotten over most of that, but it still messes with my life sometimes. I went through another 5-year marriage that ended due to completely unrealistic expectations, finances mostly. I ended up moving back home and got my life back in order. Things are improving. There's always hope. Redditor follow-up. A day later and she would get half of your retirement for life. Perfect timing, emo. Redditor 2. Wow, I am truly sorry that you had to go through such a nightmare scenario. It's one of the most frustrating and heartbreaking stories I've ever heard. Please know that my heart goes out to you, and I am here to support you in any way that I can. The road to healing from such an experience is undoubtedly a difficult one, but it is possible. One of the most important things you can do is to focus on yourself, your goals, and your future. Keep yourself busy and channel your energy into something productive. Take the time to evaluate what you want out of life and make plans to achieve those goals. Improving your life and achieving your ambitions will help you move forward from this painful experience. I understand that it can be easy to feel sorry for yourself and get caught up in thoughts of revenge, but it's important to remember that she is the one who is responsible for her action. It's not your responsibility to make sure that justice is served, and it's not worth your time and energy to dwell on it. Instead, focus on yourself and your own happiness. Take ownership of your life and your emotions. You have the power to decide how this experience will shape you. You can choose to let it break you or to use it as motivation to become stronger and more resilient. Remember that you are not alone and there are people who care about you and want to help you through this difficult time. If you ever need to talk or vent, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You got this? Redditor follow-up. Seconded. His manipulative ex absolutely choreographed this breakup to be as horrible as possible. She knew that she was going to break it off in England and was a complete coward about it. I hope I'll find strong reciprocal love and realizes how lucky she is that she didn't waste any more time with that toxic person. And I hope everyone's critical reading skills kick in and realize Opa's a woman. Redditor 3. What a bish dude. If you ever come to Portugal, hit me up so we can have a beer and talk about that dumb bish. Redditor 4. What a cunt. And I hate that word, but she deserves it. Try not to dwell on her. She doesn't deserve your time or tears. I hope you find much happiness. You deserve it. Redditor 5. It's honestly not your fault. I hope you know that in your heart of hearts. Some people use other people as a means to figure shit out. Once they figured it out, they leave and carry on with their new lifestyle. I hope only the best for you and that you find peace in life and in love. Redditor follow-up. He should have had more game foresight, could have prevented that catastrophe.